built and turned on him for clout the first second they could. Also, tell me, Emma, since taking a sponsor is so unacceptable to you and the 4-person company you work for, how many of the dozens of employees at TYT should Jank lay off to appease your judgmental ass?
What's going on, you guys? Today we have Emma Vigeland and Ana Kasparian going at it. They are back at it again, throwing jabs. Emma Vigeland throwing jabs at Ana Kasparian throwing jabs at Emma Vigeland. Let's get into it.
All that being said, are you ready to get into the craziness, get into the muck, in the mire, get into the gutter like we always do about this time? I couldn't believe it. This was the middle of the night, guys. Let's start setting the table there. These tweets that you're about to see from Ana Kasparian, they go deep into the middle of the night, right? I'm not sure where they begin. I'm not sure what time the first tweet is launched, but I know the last tweet was launched at like 1:58 in the morning my time, which is at least midnight her time, just about.
Yeah. So this was pretty crazy, and I think it's probably a good idea actually to start with the Emma Vigeland tweet, which Anna responded to, that started this all. We showed it to you and we talked about it on our last live stream, I believe. But Emma Vigeland just coming out here with a banger alliteration. Gotta love the performative piousness of polymarket populace coming for ally and movement partner Francesca, because she posted Jank's own words coming from his own mouth. Go back to your roots, ranking celebrity camel toes, get your clicks. That way, the rest of us oppose, as the rest of us oppose fascism. Sorry, but yeah, this was such a banger tweet from Emma. Got a lot of likes. But again, this is where it all just started. But Anna responded. Let's take a look at this. She says, I remember Emma telling me verbatim, I never have to work a day in my life if I don't want to, because of how wealthy her family is. Your mom threw a nice little fundraiser for Senator Gillibrand in 2018, right?
19.
Sorry, 19, right? I get why you're so attached to a party that fucked over the working class over and over again.
Also, I've investigated this. According to an anonymous source that I have, that Kristen Gillibrand fundraiser was in 2014, so over a decade ago. Do you think that you have any responsibility to what fundraisers your parents attend 11 years ago? Totally ridiculous to bring that up.
Even if it had been last year,
yeah,
Emma Vigeland would have no responsibility for it whatsoever. I mean, who cares what her parents do? You know what I'm saying? Like, unless she's part of her parents' family business, it's not really all that relevant, in my opinion. We're not out here talking about what Ana Kasparian's dad does.
Right, and this is just, almost like an inverted version of like, oh, well, my dad could beat your dad, but it's like the struggle way. It's like, oh, well, yeah, my parents struggle more than your parents struggled. Or, yeah, I struggle more than you struggle. It's one of those things to where it has nothing to do with the person, whatever you bring into it. Like, for sure, you can say that if they were, being inconsiderate, if Emma Vigeland was being inconsiderate, you could possibly say, well, she comes from maybe a wealthier, a more fortunate background. So, that might be her reasoning for why she doesn't, have sympathy for the ones that are, going through something. But that doesn't seem like what Ana Kasparian is saying at all. She seems like she just wants to smear Emma Vigeland for no reason. And it's a really bad look for Ana Kasparian.
Her mom does, you know what I'm saying? So I don't really expect her to understand what it's like to live in a neighborhood that's been overrun with criminals due to policies she preaches in the name of gaining social capital. So we're all supposed to believe that Emma Vigeland is living in a mansion and Ana Kasparian is living in the slum, on the street, in the block across the train tracks or something. Emma Vigeland would have no idea the daily reality that Anna experiences.
It's so crazy and it's so dishonest because both of these people live in quite safe neighborhoods and quite safe environments. Okay, I've walked all over Brooklyn and I've walked all over Los Angeles. Okay, I've never had a second thought in my entire life. Both those places have been gentrified to all fuck. And I know somebody's gonna call, oh yeah, there's still real tough parts of South Central Los Angeles, bro. You ever walk down Crenshaw Boulevard at the wrong time? That's not where Anna lives. So don't show me a fucking address in Los Angeles, California, where it's like really fucking hot to trot and hard out. Okay, we constantly will show you guys that whether it's Brooklyn, whether it's Los Angeles, whether it's Seattle, wherever you live that's making a bunch of content about left-wing shit, It's not as rough and tumble as it is in Kansas City. And Gavin and I never fear for our safety when we go outside. We walk around all kinds of neighborhoods, the historic Northeast, Indian Mount, North Indian Mount. These are neighborhoods where you're supposed to not be able to just walk around. We love the architecture there. Gavin and I will go for 3-4 hour long walks after the show sometimes, just exploring the old houses. Some of them are abandoned. Some of them still have families living in them. It's supposed to be a horrible neighborhood. Gavin and I assure you, live way closer to crime and gun violence and all kinds of the hysterical shit that Anna is LARPing about than either Anna or Emma Vigeland, and we're total authorities to speak on it. And I'll throw one more thing in there. My mom has been to all kinds of fucking ungodly fundraisers, okay? She works for a Republican senator from Kansas, Jerry Moran. Her and I don't talk much, but if you want to start casting stuff, like that would be like making me responsible for some crazy shit that my mom did in 2014. I guarantee you, she probably supported all kinds of ridiculous hokum. You know what I mean? But I would have nothing to do with it, just like Emma has nothing to do with her mom's Christian Gillibrand support.
Yeah, exactly. It's totally irrelevant, but we'll get back to that in a second. Let's just read the rest of this real quick.
So Ana Kasparian is really wanting to turn this into, a soap opera of some sort, of saying, oh, well, here's the big reveal. You grew up wealthy and your mom, is supporting someone that we don't agree with. Wow, that's the big reveal. No wonder you come from evil. You're always going to be evil. Like, even Ana Kasparian's take on this comes from, she sort of comes at it from like a boomer type way of like wanting to make it to where it's a good versus evil, to where it's like, oh, you are a bad person because this is where you come from. You're stuck at this, almost wanting to paint it in like a moral order type of way, is like you're below us because you come from this, you come from like a wealthy elite, however you want to put it. She almost comes at it from a conservative way is what I'm trying to say. But let's keep on going.
And did a hatchet job on Cenk, even though he was kind enough to waste his time going on her show in the name of openness and understanding. I knew he was making a mistake. These people aren't interested in building any coalitions. They're not open to understanding anything. They don't give a shit about winning policy goals. Literally, the worst thing Cenk ever did was open up the company to these people. They came in, leached off of what he built, and turned on him for clout the first second they could. Also, tell me, Emma, since taking a sponsor is so unacceptable to you and the 4-person company you work for, how many of the dozens of employees at TYT should Cenk lay off to appease your judgmental ass? Tell us. So there's so much to unpack here, and we could probably spend the next hour going line by line. What I do think is crazy, though, here is basically an admission. How many dozens of employees at TYT should Cenk lay off to appease your judgmental ass? So basically what they're admitting there is they need the poly market money in order to not go bankrupt, or at least that's the excuse she's making. TYT is literally in such a bad place financially that, according to Anna, if we're to believe her, the poly market sponsorship is the only thing preventing them from literally going bankrupt. That's what's paying the employees, which is an incredible sign of desperation. That means they knew how bad it would look, how compromised it would make them appear, yet they took it anyway because seemingly that was the only option. Do you take that the same way, or do you think that's just a total excuse, Zach?
Well, I think it's both, right? I think they hired so many people because they were way too proud of themselves because they got the $20 million from Jeffrey Katzenberg and they overexpanded. I thought that Sam Cedar actually did an excellent job talking about why Tim Pool would be broke if it wasn't for Russian money, because you have a main show that does really well. And then he's like, oh, and then you want a sports show, and then you want a movie show, and you want a show that focuses on this and that. And you want to run an empire now, and you're a media organization. And he was like, and you don't understand that you just have an audience of people that want to watch your show. He was like, people want to watch our show. They watch the Majority Report. He was like, they don't want to watch a bunch of other things. That's actually really astute and smart observation of Sam. Right?
Make sure to like the vid and subscribe for more content like this.
Right. I think it's why the Majority Report has had longevity. I think Kyle Klinsky's had longevity because he understands what his audience wants, and he, makes that one thing. He doesn't over expand. Right. So I think part of it was the hubris that they were going to continue to have exponential growth forever. Right. I don't think that they realized how tethered to the Bernie movement their success was. And then on top of that, yes, they got to the point where they had so many people, 75 employees, which I've heard a lot of people who have worked at TYT and people who have worked around TYT really, really speculate that 75 number doesn't exist anymore, that was their all-time peak of employees. And now it's probably half of that. But of course they could only pay even those, couple dozen employees with the money from Polymarket because they're just not generating revenue to sustain it, guys. You guys, I don't know if people fully appreciate how much money your show has to be making to run a network, right? Gavin and I, over the course of a whole year, if we did extremely well, we would still never have the money to ethically hire somebody else, right? It just wouldn't be in there. Even as proud as we are of how far we've come, even with all of the benefits.
So there we have it, you guys. We have Emma Vigeland trashing Ana Kasparian and Ana Kasparian firing back. Anna is going to continue to make herself look like a fool, even in her responses, saying, oh, wow, yes, you come from this family that was really well off. There's no way that you can relate to the scum of the earth criminals. There's no way that you even want to actually care about them, because why would anybody who's wealthy care about them in the first place? These people are worthless. They're more, she's too far going into the conservative mind frame, into the conservative mind state, to where it's starting to mix now, even in her rebuttals. She has tried too hard to appease, talking about Ana Kasparian, has tried too hard to appease the right, to where she has now been infected with their morals, and she is on their playing field, having a discussion with Emma Vigeland, bringing the right's entire worldview in the argument. It's very telling. It's very sad to see. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. It's another day in the progressive way.